Well, hello and good morning, and welcome to the Lockhart Radio Podcast. I am your host, Felicia Lockhart, and I'm very happy to be with you today, this Sunday, September 15th, 2024. I am having a very casual conversation today simply because we've got a lot of stuff that we need to cover. But I think the most important piece that I want to share with you, first and foremost, is the last set of presidents. So let's start here with Barack Obama. He was a president from January 20th, 2009 through January 20th, 2017. And then you've got Donald Trump from 17 to 21, and you've got Biden from 21 to current. Hmm. Why did I want to share that? Because I think that it's really important for those individuals who are poking fun at our government, poking fun at our country, poking fun at what some are calling hysterical people, especially hysterical patriots. Like, why is everybody a patriot? Why does everybody care? Well, we care because we love our country, dude. And everybody else loves it too, or they wouldn't be rushing in here, whether they're paid or not. The fact is, over the last several years of the picture that I just showed you, who has been in control? I'll hold. Yeah, they've been in control. They've been the ones who've made most of the decisions. And you and I both know that there are some feelings that I have with regards to Trump and some of the things that he decided to do when he was in office. But the reality is that even though we show all of the previous presidents to include Trump, we already know they don't make the major decisions. They're puppets put in place. They are selected, right? So the most important thing that I want to do is I wanted to show that because I'm still seeing a lot of memes as I go on Twitter and what they call Black Twitter. I never knew that there was a section of somebody else's platform. But in Twitter, there's what they call Black Twitter. And I'm looking at how everybody says, oh, she did this and she went at him. Oh, and she did this and that. There's a lot of neck rolling going on, baby. There's a lot of neck rolling. And the problem with a lot of neck rolling is it gets absolutely zero done. Absolutely nothing. So as much as they want to feel like, she rolled her neck and she said all the things she said, and he had to stand there and defend himself about the things that he felt was going on in the United States, we have to deal with the realities. And like I said, what is it called, you guys? I know some of you all may know out there. There was one of the first things that Trump was able to do when he was in office, and that was rescind or repeal something else. But then it was a TPST something. It was something that happened. He was able to repeal that, and once he pulled that back, he went ahead and he agreed with an agreement with Canada and Mexico and the United States, sort of put them, all three of us, they all agreed and we all got into this other agreement, which to me at the time, as well as Bettina, we were talking and at the time, and we didn't think that that was a better trade-off. As a matter of fact, to us, it looked just like it was the same thing, but just a little bit more, rouge on the cheeks. So there are a lot of things that I think, of course, our country could do better. But what I need to look at and what I need to peel back, all of us collectively today, because you guys are our co-laborers here. I call you co-laborers on Headlines with a Voice, and I call you co-laborers on the Lockhart Perspective, because you are not followers. We are co-laborers together. Okay, Michael John and William Smith, my mods, are in today. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you. Yes, that's it. The Trans-Pacific Agreement, Sheila Doyle. So we're going to take a look at how we got into some of the trouble and how some of the issues are taking place over there right now in Venezuela, and how the mirror is here. We got a mirror here. It's amazing to me that we've actually allowed people who have great disdain for our country here. We've ushered them in and we've given them temporary protective status, or however you want to say it. We've given it to them. And it's pretty much a point of they have some form of carte blanche now that they're here. And that's so sad. That is so sad, because they have no clue what they're being used to do. They are being used. Even though you got some bad dudes, there's a handful of people who may have come over here with the hopes of having something better for themselves. Now, let's look at some of the pieces before we get into the articles and the video clips that we've got today. I want to point out a couple of things because we're definitely going to look at Venezuela as a whole. I also want to take a look at a few other things, but here's some of the main pieces. The main piece is the whole Venezuela part from the previous president, all right, to Maduro, to the United States having conversations with Maduro, and then Maduro becoming the president, to the United States putting these embargoes and all this other stuff against them, all these, preventing the food from getting through, which led them to the whole donkey situation and the flamingo situation. And even though you may not be able to find some of those stories, I've got them where you want to have your memory refreshed to the year of 2017. We are the ones who started that. And even though there was some unrest and some things going on there, the United States was responsible for promulgating a lot of the problems that they ended up having, like we always are. I mean, we did it, we got Argentina, we got a lot of different countries that we put our hands in, and a lot of different countries that we've pumped the word democracy, and that democracy has caused a lot of bitter people. Now you've got all those bitter people here. You've got all those bitter people here. Hey, Tonette, another one of our mods are here today. Thank you, Tonette. So you've got a lot of bitter people here. And when you get a lot of bitter people, even though they may smile because they have a need and they have their hands extended to you, they're going to take what you put in their hands because they got a need, their babies have a need, their spouses have a need, they have a need. They're going to smile. They're going to take what you offer them, and then they're going to show who they really are later on. Or they're going to turn their heads when others that are with them are showing you who they are. Not only that, let's look at the unrest that took place in Haiti. Let's look at how the United States felt about Haiti. Let's look at some of the things that Biden said about Haiti prior to what he and Kamala did not long ago, giving them temporary protective status. Let's understand that there are a lot of people that have conflicting personalities where you are concerned, US. And now you want them to come here and blend in like places like poor little old Springfield, Ohio, where the preponderance of the people that were there prior to them being over inundated with their quote unquote guests are little old folks who just retired and, been living in the places in their homes for 20, 30 years. And as they've been living there for 20 or 30 years, and now they've, opened up a little small business, even after they've retired, maybe they got a hardware store. Maybe they've got, something that does, maybe they're installing carpet, or maybe they've got a small plumbing company after being a plumber for years. These individuals that now have small businesses are getting what for? These people in the town of Springfield are all being forced to stay in their homes, all being forced to not be able to blend well anymore. And here's the thing. I do not want to hear all of the racist rhetoric because, again, you guys that have been following with me through our journey here in YouTube land, you guys already know that I feel that when you start touting the term racism, that what it does is it shuts people down immediately that would otherwise take notice to things that are wrong. But if they put it out there, you're not going to say anything. And then you guys, how many of you all have heard me say that? That once you consider using that term, you make everybody purple, yellow, white, green, gold, orange, all right, black, purple, green, all of that. You make them feel like, well, darn, I can't say anything because if I do, I'm going to be labeled a racist. And I'm not a racist. I love all people. Unless you do something to me, I love everybody. Well, that's what they've done. They've pigeonholed you. They've painted you into a corner. They've made you feel guilty because you look at the obvious and you make comment on it. You don't want your property value going down, and yet it is. You don't want the places that are around you being encamped around you with apartment complexes. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what ethnos you are. I don't give a flip. Don't nobody want to pay for a home and then build it up. You know what I'm saying? Put in a nice little concrete or a nice little brick fireplace and put in a nice little barbecue grill in the back, put some swings up for your grandkids, put a nice little fence around it for privacy. Don't nobody want to do all of that and then have the property value go down because now you got a shelter around the corner. You've got an apartment complex around here that they've now fixed up and refitted for migrants to come in and out. And who cares? The fact is, when you take individuals from different cultures and attempt to force them to blend in with a quote unquote more civilized environment, you're going to have trouble. I don't care if the folks you blending and bringing in look just like the people who are already there. Culture is what matters. The places that they came from and the habits that they have. Do you realize that even if you were to take a homeless person from your community right now, let's put the scenario out there before we get into some of these video clips. If you were to take a homeless person from your community that has been homeless for, say, 10 years, and you say, you know what, I see this lady down here all the time and I'm going to bring her in my house. So you, young lady, and your sister, you guys go get her, you bring her in your house, you give her female toiletries, the same stuff that you all use. You give them the toiletries, you give them a shower, you give them their own room with a shower in it. One of two things is going to happen. You give her 3 meals and now she's inside the house. One of two things is going to happen. She's either going to appreciate it, and she's going to assimilate, and she's going to go out and try to get a job and get herself together. Or here's what most people find. She's not going to be able to sleep in that bed because she's learned how to have comfort on the ground. I'm telling you the truth. She's going to have comfort on the ground. She's not going to be able to stay in the house because her trust level has been heightened and depleted. Isn't that weird? It's been heightened and it's been depleted because she doesn't know exactly where you're really coming from. She's going to leave because she don't know if she can trust you. Her trust level has been heightened in the fact that while she's in them streets, she's not looking for anybody to help her because she knows she can't trust nobody. So now her dukes are up permanently in the spirit realm. Now those 2 little knobs that are on the back of her kidneys, her adrenals, are in constant fight and flight. She's not going to be able to get along in that household for long as she had her mental constitution. If you had caught her a month into that homeless lifestyle, maybe even 2 months, but by that 90th day, that bow was broken. The bow has been broken. The mind will assimilate. The mind will get accustomed to, the mind will work within whatever means she's been dealing with a lot of women have to hide out in the middle of the night because of rape, because of being beaten, because of being, the opportunity. She ain't going to be able to function. So now you expect us to have people come in this country who have lived in countries that have had earthquake after earthquake after earthquake. All right, who have had one bad problem after another bad problem after no food, no water, no housing, no help from the police. As a matter of fact, the police are the ones that's beating them up. You got the government coming and sending in all different types of troops. These people are living in fight and flight on a daily freaking basis. Now you expect for them to come here and give them money and then cut the money off. Then when the money is cut off, or when any of the things that you've given them is cut off, or when they decide the food that you're giving them doesn't taste like the fresh fruit and vegetables that they were getting out in the fields where they were able to go grab what they wanted or whatnot, now what are they doing? They're going to revert to how survival is for them. And that's the problem. But when you have a regime that does not care, they will force you, like they are forcing the people of Springfield, Ohio, like they are forcing the people in El Paso, Texas, like they are forcing the people of California, of Detroit, of Chicago, of all over the United States right now in what was and is sanctuary cities, you will end up drawing back a nub. And don't worry, even if you're not in a sanctuary city, the spillover you will definitely feel an effect because of the spillover. So let's get into some of the items here now that we were able to give that information. I do want to, boy, we're really going to look at, we got something that I really want to show you guys. So much information today. Let me see if we can give you this because this is one of the things that I clipped up for you guys. These are one of the articles that I clipped up for you. And I just named it Wow. Let me see, can I download this? Yeah, if I download it, I can share it with you guys. I was up early this morning and I pulled some of the information going on there from Springfield for you guys. I wanted to take a look at what was going on there in Springfield and exactly how those individuals were looking at some of the crap that's going on. So, what we did is we pulled the video from their meetings that they had there in Springfield. So let's get into that. Let's have a gander of that story because it's important that we do it. Um, oh, hello there. How are you, Black Spring with Autumn? It's so good to see you. I'm not sure if you guys ever watch Black Spring with Autumn's channel. I'm doing this as a PSA right now because I want you guys to go over and check Black Spring with Autumn's channel out. Very good. Okay, Daryl, no problem. Daryl Calhoun is another one of our mods. He's here today. So, with that in mind, I want you guys to go and check out Black Spring with Autumn's channel. Please consider it. Please consider becoming a subscriber to her channel. And I believe that once you do, you will absolutely enjoy it. I really, I know you will because she's intelligent. She's in education. She can lay down there for you guys some of the stuff that's going on right now in the education system like nobody else. She is a brilliant woman. And I am very, very happy to call her friend. So with that in mind, let's go on ahead and take a look at this right here. I want you guys to take a look. First thing, here we go. This I found very curious. This I found very startling. All right, here you go. This is from the Springfield, Ohio's page for their meetings that they have. Looks like they have them every Tuesday because they have a lot of stuff that's been put up. So here you go. Let me get you guys this video, which is, it's very sad to hear the people themselves tell you exactly what's going on. That's the bad part, is that they're literally telling you what's happening. All right, so let's go. Let me show you this. I wonder if I can. Is this it? Yeah, I think this is it. Yeah. Yes. This is an older gentleman here. I want you guys to hear this sweet dear. He's a sweet dear gentleman. Sweet little dear fella. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys see it in our editing screen because I edited it. All right. I don't know if you guys can see it.
My name is Clayton Klein, resident of Springfield. I was here from Ultra's 1970s and 80s when the whole city was teetering on bankruptcy.
Hold on.
I've been delighted to be in here and seeing the Renaissance.
Hold on a minute before I go much further.
Requirement that we should leave everybody should be leaving here tonight and asking, why wasn't this done? And I speak specifically because I had 30 years with the Air Force, and one of my jobs was go ahead and deal with the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. You mention the EPA and you think about trail derailments, emissions, but they actually have their tentacles right here in the city. Specifically, looking at the infrastructure of a city and an impact that some activity might have on a city. I myself conducted an environmental impact assessment for Del City, for the city, but in behalf of the city of Del City, Oklahoma, when the Air Force was supposed to have 800 people come into the city, a city of 30,000, 800 now. very detailed assessment. It looked at what impact those 800 people would have on the school system. It looked at what impact it would have on the hospital. We got so detailed that we figured out how often a toilet would be flushed every day additionally, and putting an impact on the sewage treatment plant. You sit back and say, wow, was this done? Now that we're faced with this horrible demand on our resources here. And you say, I don't think so. It's not incumbent upon you. No, it's not the city's responsibility. It's this strange entity out there that caused all the problems we have who didn't do it. And I'm speculating because I'm very confused about how this all came about. I'm assuming that it's an NGO, a non-government organization that seems to be immune from any type of. So I'm just asking, has an environmental impact assessment ever come up?
We are going to I've taken your information down, and you will have a detailed answer from our staff.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate your comments.
Well, thank you for giving me this.
Thanks for your service too. Mike Lowe.
My name is Mike Lowe, and I've been coming to this city commission meeting for many, many years, and I'm shocked when we had these restrictions on these guidelines now. I'm really in shock. But what I really want to talk about, I want my money back. Since 2013, the city has not met the city's charter with the number of officers. I find it hard to believe a lot of officers are retiring each year, which is supposed to be the reason why the city is not meeting the 124 requirement. The city will be using scare tactics to the community to get the income tax renewal passed again. The city will promise we will have safe streets. We will fix your roads. The city is not safe now. 12 and 13-year-old kids are terrorizing the neighborhoods with guns. The juvenile court system is a joke by slapping the kid on the hand and releasing them. 74 times the city of Springfield police were called to the high school from March 23 to May of 24. I have the police report. All property owners in the city should get their money back since the city has failed to meet the city requirements for the officers. The leadership of this city has failed us. They have failed to lead. When am I getting my money back? Also, the property at North Belmont and Lark Street was reported over a year ago and has been sitting empty for years from the fire. When is it going to get cleaned up? And the 14 properties in the West End that was reported to the city going to be taken down. I am tired of coming and asking for these, and you just look and say, we'll look into it, but nothing ever gets done. Please quit wasting my tax dollars. That's what I normally come here for and ask questions. Why are you doing this and why are you doing that? Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Anthony Harris.
All right, I'm 28 years old and I'm a social media influencer and I just be on TikTok and stuff. I do YouTube. I think it's like kind of odd that like a guy like me has to come out from doing what I do on a daily basis to have fun because I see what's going on in these streets and I see you guys just sitting up there in comfy chairs and suits and I'm getting out here every day and I'm broadcasting this and you guys are just sitting up there in suits and stuff. Like I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something. These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They're running into they flipping cars in the middle of the street. And I don't know how like y'all can be comfortable with this. Like I don't know like who's getting paid from this. I honestly feel like someone's getting paid from it in the background. You got a bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTimed me this morning at the welfare office that really need something. And it's nothing but immigrants over there. And I don't even want to seem like I'm coming down on the immigrants because it's the people that's bringing them down here. Because wherever they're at, that's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them. Like, y'all get the Highway State Patrol down here every week, and then y'all get like a task force for the Highway State Patrol, and they look for guns and they look for dope and this and that in the fort. That same people that y'all got riding up and down Limestone doing U-turns, pulling people over for blinkers and pulling people over for going left to center and a couple miles over. Y'all can take them same people, the Highway State Patrol, and you can take them in every single one of their silver Chargers and Dodge Durangos, and y'all can take them to Sunset, and y'all can park them right over there, and y'all can teach people how to drive since the Highway State Patrol know so much about traffic laws and know what to do in traffic. They need to, y'all pay them they can go over there and teach these Haitians how to drive because it's getting bro. I'm getting thousands of views on these, and it's going to get bigger and it's only going to get worse. And y'all sitting up there in these chairs, all y'all need to get out here and do something. Y'all making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Y'all need to put on a t-shirt and some Crocs, and then y'all need to come out here in these streets and y'all need to go out here and I'm out here before the police is. Like, y'all need to do something, bro. Y'all really got to stand on business. Y'all getting paid all this money just to wear a suit and sit in a chair. I think it's crazy, bro. We got to do something, bro. It's kids out here getting hurt. Like, only reason I even went on here and said something about it is because somebody told me they walking from the school and a Haitian almost ran into them. And who is getting paid? Like, how much money is y'all really getting paid, like, to bring them over here? Like, I know it's deeper than them. I know that's where they come from and that's what they do. That's their country. I don't know what they got going on over there, but they can't do that over here. And if y'all just getting paid from it and then y'all ain't doing nothing about it, I think that's super weird, bro. Y'all got to stand on business. Y'all got to really, like, step up. Like, it's lame, bro. Like, for real.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jeffrey Allen?
Okay. So we see exactly what he had to say.
Thank you for having me.
And let me close this up because I'm sure you guys can still hear that. Hold on.
Tumultuous 1970s and 80s when the whole city was.
So the bad part about the whole piece is that you've got just regular everyday people a little upset. Regular everyday folks that are upset because they feel as if no one is doing anything. And yes, there are a lot of NGOs that are helping out with overtaking this country. I really feel that it's important for us to not use politically correct information or verbiage. We need to call a spade and say what it is that's really happening. The part that we're going to look at next is specifically, well, for those of you who just came in, let me share with you again. No, we're not going to go back because then that's just going to mess up everything. So let's just keep forward. In the city of, I want to take a look at the city of El Paso, Texas, because there have been some things going on in El Paso that I believe we all should look at. We should look at it and we should really investigate why some of these things are happening. But we don't have any answers. So we all got to put our thinking caps on together. So here we go. Let's take a look at this. In El Paso, Texas, El Paso County Attorney Christina Sanchez has obtained a 90-day injunction against a downtown hotel. Now, some would say, why was that? Well, it's the Gateway Hotel, and it's alleged to be a community or a common nuisance and a place where habitual criminal activity happens, according to a lawsuit against the hotel that was filed by the state of Texas and the county attorney's office. The Gateway Hotel is located at 104 South Stanton Street in downtown El Paso, and it's alleged to be a place where habitual criminal activity takes place, including drug offenses, aggravated assault, and weapons offenses. That is the primary reason for the nuisance claim in the lawsuit. Under the injunction, the county attorney's office is anticipating that the hotel will have until this past week, Thursday, September 12th, to cease their operations. Now, the county attorney's office is waiting for the judge to formally sign the order to make that official. Authorities are working with non-governmental organizations to find housing for the families currently living in the hotel. Isn't that an oxymoron? You guys may or may not remember, but we did an article about 2 years ago showing some non-governmental agencies that were taking people directly from the border by van into the city and taking them and dropping them off directly at hotels. You may remember that. We covered that on the Lockhart Perspective. Now, the lawsuit argues that the Gateway Hotel knowingly tolerated this criminal activity and failed to take reasonable measures to abate it. For example, the hotel did not consistently cooperate with law enforcement investigations. The lawsuit also emphasizes the serious nature of some of the offenses, including an incident on June 16th where an aggravated assault involving multiple individuals brandishing guns and knives took place. The lawsuit also cites multiple other instances of aggravated assault at the hotel, including an incident where a man threatened to kill his girlfriend with a knife and another where a man stabbed another man in the thigh. In addition to the violent crimes, the lawsuit presents evidence of habitual drug activity at the hotel, including multiple instances of narcotics possession and use. Additionally, the lawsuit lists over 90 violations of city ordinances, including a failure to maintain sanitary conditions, blocked fire exits, and most notably, operating without a valid certificate of occupancy since November 22nd, 2018. Now, you mean to tell me that nobody knew this? You mean to tell me that the person who owns this building doesn't know somebody? There's not some payola going on? The article goes on and continues with the El Paso Fire Department has documented numerous fire code violations, including painted sprinkler heads and expired fire suppression systems and blocked fire exits across multiple inspections, according to the lawsuit. Now, if that had been your church, if that had been your organization, you would not be around at all. You would be a memory, my friend. You guys know it, and so do I. So now the troubled Gateway Hotel is owned by an Asian fellow, Mr. Liu. I think that's his name. No, Yun, Howard Yun. That's his name. I want to look Howard Yun up. I want to see if that name, yeah, he is. He's a South Korean immigrant. So let's get into this. Who owns it? And why isn't he being held accountable? Who owns it? And why isn't he being held accountable? That's the question next. All right. A hotel in El Paso, Texas, has been shut down for harboring violent and illegal border crossers, including Venezuelan Tren de Aragua prison gang members. Boy. El Paso County Attorney Cristina Sanchez sued the Gateway Hotel owned by Gigante Enterprises, LLC, and Howard Yun, a South Korean immigrant, for allegedly violating multiple public nuisance laws and endangering the entire community. The lawsuit was filed in El Paso County 120th District Court and asked the court to issue an injunction to shut the hotel down, according to the complaint. The judge did grant the request on Monday, and the occupants had until this past Thursday to vacate. Now, the Gateway Hotel's recent history is dubious. Its previous owner was convicted. Oh, I can't make this ish up. You cannot make this ish up. The Gateway Hotel's recent history is dubious. Its previous owner was convicted on smuggling and money laundering charges back in 2011. The city condemned the building in 2014. It remained vacant until Yun received a conditional certificate for occupancy in 2018. The hotel has operated for 6 years without a valid certificate of occupancy, which we just saw, in violation of city requirements, the lawsuit states. In the last 2 years, there were 693 service calls made, indicating habitual criminal activity that contributes to the overall blight this business brings to downtown El Paso, the complaint states. Let that freaking sink in. 693 service calls. Can you imagine in your community right now a public nuisance having 693 service calls? You guys would flip. I would freaking flip. Listen, with 693 service calls, you can only imagine the type of traffic that's hanging around outside the building. Not necessarily who's going in and out, but what's happening outside the building. Can you only imagine having to drive your kids past there to go to school or to catch the bus or just regular life? Now, there has been surveillance footage accompanying the complaint appearing to show at least one gun being shot, another used to threaten men holding knives, and another man with a hatchet assaulting people and causing damage to the hotel in front of a security guard, who obviously is just there to get his $7.50 an hour. He ain't trying to bother nobody. He's not trying to get involved. The type of crimes allegedly committed on the property include narcotics trafficking, aggravated assault, criminal trespass, assaultative conduct, fights, 2 terroristic threats, criminal mischief, arson, theft, burglary, prostitution, among others, the complaint states. The El Paso Fire Department attested to the habitual criminal activity, trash, and fire hazards. The El Paso Police Department to an increase of suspected gang members using the property and continuous incidents of criminal activity with the introduction of the Tren de Agua organization into the hotel. Now, the officer's affidavit states hotel management is negligently allowing gang activity to infiltrate the area, allowing illegal activity, consuming drugs, gang activity, illegal dumping, and will continue to threaten public safety if allowed to conduct business as usual. Now, the attorney Sanchez's nuisance abatement team files civil lawsuits to mitigate and or combat common and public nuisances occurring on properties, including crimes like prostitution, human trafficking, drug trafficking, narcotics, related crimes, crimes involving firearms, robbery, massage therapy code violations, alcohol violations, and other various aggravated crimes in her office. They explained the purpose of the nuisance abatement lawsuit is not to charge a person with a crime, but rather prove that the business property owner allowed the illegal activity to occur on their property and failed to make reasonable attempts to stop it. Now, what's going to stop one of these individuals from filing a lawsuit? Because with this, if I were a mom and one of my children were affected and I was just coming in from another country trying to come up on some quick cash, and rightfully so, I'd be suing the city for allowing them to stay. I'd be suing the apartment complex for having the issue. I'd sue everybody all the way up the food chain. And I'm surprised there's not any ambulance chasing attorneys out there trying to make this happen. The El Paso ruling comes as Tren de Agua gang members have infiltrated apartment complexes and hotels and committed a range of violent crimes nationwide. They've been released into the United States by the Biden-Harris administration after illegally entering the country and through the new CHNV parole program created by the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Why is he still around? Didn't they just impeach him? Why are they holding on? What's really going on? Now, since fiscal year 2021, a record number of Venezuelan illegal border crossers have been reported, nearly 856,000, the greatest number in United States history. Another 115,000 Venezuelans were granted parole through the CHNV program. Now, how many of your relatives have been given a parole through any organization, even though you knew they had committed a crime or were suspected of having committed a crime or were found guilty, even if they had circumstantial evidence? How many of Pookie Nim, Ray Ray Nim, Billy Bob, how many? I'll hold. Meanwhile, you have places like the state I live in right here, Alabama, that are utilizing prisoners to go work at places like McDonald's and Wendy's and Whataburger and other places here in the state, and taking 40% of their income while they get to leave the prisons to go work. And even if the people are sick, they cannot even say they can't go to work because they're sick, throwing up, now putting the people in the public at risk. This is prison. This is the Alabama Department of Corrections that I'm referring to. Even if the people that are prisoners are sick, when they drop them off, they charge them $15 a month to drop them off at the workplace. So you may be getting somebody who's sick and you don't even know that they're a prisoner, mind you. They can't get a job at that very same place when they get out of prison because they got a record. Make that make sense. But you got these cats from Venezuela, some of the baddest prisoners on the planet with their empty jail having cells, coming over here being granted parole. You gonna grant them parole here. If that don't make you angry, I don't know what will. It says the overwhelming majority are single military-aged adults. These dudes are between 12 and 20-something years old. They look like babies in the face, but baby, don't believe the hype because that ain't what you're going to be dealing with if you run up on one of these cats. According to the CBP data, the CHNV program has been directly linked to perpetrators committing violent crimes against Americans. You got dudes in Alabama prison who just didn't take care of 2 or 3 tickets because he was so busy trying to get back and forth to work. Now they said, forget it, you're just in jail. That's the truth. But these cats have been linked to perpetrators committing violent crimes against Americans. Tren de Aragua members are being arrested nationwide and being freaking released. The Center Square has reported. Now, the Attorney General there, Ashley Moody, has demanded answers from the Biden-Harris administration about how many criminal Venezuelans have been released into the United States and why. You're never going to get a freaking answer as long as they can convert these people to voters and as long as they can make sure that the ones they can't convert to voters are destroying the infrastructure of the United States, are destroying anywhere USA's communities. They're not going to answer you. You got this cackling broad running around here right now, not saying who she really is because she know if she starts to talk, it's going to sound like Stalin on crack. So how you expect this broad to give you an answer? How you expect Paw to give you an answer? These folk ain't answering you because the plan is working. This is a concerted effort. Hey, that's what this is. And the plan is working. So they're not going to answer you. She's just going to keep going. Yeah. Right? That's all she does. And it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening because they're running down a clock, baby, until you go and say something to the person in your state that's supposed to be representing your state and let them know you ain't going nowhere else until you get this fixed with these people. They ain't getting enough pressure from the states. They're not getting enough pressure from the citizenry because we are anesthetized. How? I don't know. Could it be the bots that's in the Diet Coke? Could it be the bots that's on your organic fruits and vegetables? Could it be? Could it be? But they ain't getting no pressure, baby. They ain't getting no pressure. And this civil war that people think is about to take place is not. Why? Because the same lackadaisical people who are not saying nothing to their people that they've elected and sent up, them the ones that's got the pow-pows, and they ain't doing nothing. The Biden administration has full knowledge that prisoners from other countries are making their way to the United States through our wide open border, Moody said in March before the Venezuelan gangs made recent national news. She wants to know why the Biden administration is releasing criminal, illegal aliens in the United States prisons directly into the interior rather than deporting them back to their country of origin. You can want to know why, sweetie, but they're not going to answer you. And even the people that you're about to mention here. Also in March, U.S. Senator Marco Rubio and U.S. Senator Maria Elvira Salazar, both Florida Republicans and Cuban Americans, warned Tren de Aragua is invading the criminal army from a prison in Venezuela that has spread their brutality and chaos to the United States. They hate us. Why would you think they wasn't going to do nothing but that? Here's the thing. I really want to say this. Since it's okay for them to release them, I really want them to go check their houses out. If left unchecked, they will unleash an unprecedented reign of terror, mirroring the devastation it has already inflicted in communities throughout Central and South America, most prominently in Colombia, Chile, Ecuador, Peru. The breadth of Tren de Agua's operation encompasses murder, drug and human trafficking, sex crimes, extortion, and kidnapping, among other brutalities. These are just words that we're using, but you have to understand that these words, when they're acted out, are the most heinous of things that one human can exact on another. The U.S. Department of State has designated the gang, which began in Torocon prison in Aragua, Venezuela, as a transitional criminal organization. It's offering up to $12 million in rewards for information leading to the arrest and or conviction of its leaders, who are believed to be in Colombia and Venezuela. Baby, don't think that. Don't think that. They're not in Venezuela. They're not in Colombia. They're right here. Why wouldn't they be? Why wouldn't they be? Right? Why wouldn't they be? They got to check it all out. You got to inspect what you expect, right? Yeah, you do. That's what you got to do. That's how I was trained. Yeah. As a leader, I was trained to inspect what I expect. And if I expect for my people to do X, well, then I've got to go and inspect it. That's why they're here. Don't think for a second they ain't. Don't you fool yourself. Don't you fool yourself to believe them folks ain't here. Them cats is here. I'm going to show you one of the cats. Was born in 1983, exacting his revenge. They not happy. You guys had them down there eating donkeys. You had them down there eating aardvarks, anteaters. That's what you did. Now you expect for them to come over here and be nice? No, because you knew they weren't. You knew they wasn't going to be nice. Here is the United States. Up to $12 million in rewards. Let's see, this comes from the United States Department of State. Why are they playing in your face? These people are playing in your face, telling you that this is what they're giving. Yeah, if y'all can find them, you can get up to $12 million. Yeah. Huh. Now, I guarantee you, you go out and find them and watch and see who it is that subdues you. Up to $12 million in reward offers for information leading to the arrest and or convictions of 3 leaders of Tren de Aragua Transitional Criminal Organization. So let me get this right. This was done in July 11th of 2024. You guys started allowing these people to come over here and then let them, and then you knew they opened up the prisons and you knew the people was coming. You knew they got here. Now you're going to use our tax dollars to reward some poor sap that would attempt to go and do this, or a group of individuals that as soon as you see them getting together, you're going to call them a militia and you're going to say that they're an illegal group. Okay. So then you're going to use more tax money to put those people in jail, but you're going to give somebody some tax money to do this, right? You're full of it. The Department of State, in coordination with the Department of Justice, or the DOJ, is announcing a reward offers totaling up to $12 million under the Transitional Organized Crime Rewards Program for information leading to the arrest and or convictions in any country of Tren de Aragua's leader Hector Rutherford Guerrero, also known as Nino Guerrero, up to 5 million. Johan Jose Romero. Is it just me? But how are we getting all of these, Jewish names mixed with Spanish? What's good? Johan Jose Romero, also known as Johan Petrica, up to $4 million. And Giovanni San Vicente, also known as Giovanni, also known as Vejo Vejo, also known as El Vejo, up to $3 million for that dude. The State Department rewards are offered in coordination with the government of Colombia and are also announced in coordination with the Department of Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control's designation of Tren de Aguas as a significant transitional criminal organization pursuant to the Executive Order EO 13581 as amended by EO 13863. Tren de Agua is a transitional criminal organization that began as a prison gang in Torocon prison in the state of Aragua, Venezuela. Over the past 6 years, Tren de Agua leaders Nino Guerrero has expanded the group's criminal network throughout South America and recently extended north to Central America and the United States. Though through collaborations with the Colombian National Police, or the CNP, the United, how are you going to deal with some illegal people? Anyway, through collaboration with the Colombian National Police, or CNP, the United States believes that Tren de Agua's leader Nino and Giovanni are in Colombia. Now, one of the cats was already caught in Colombia, allegedly. I'll let you see that photo in a few minutes. Allegedly, he was caught out there. Okay, allegedly. But nonetheless, investigations and intelligence further identified Tren de Agua's co-founder Johan Petrisa as another Tren de Agua leader believed to be in Venezuela. None of them people in Venezuela. Stop it, I say. You know, doggone good and well, them doggone people are right here. Y'all probably having parties with them. You're probably getting the best coca in town from them. I'm not tripping. I'm being honest. That's probably what y'all doing. Because we know that there was somebody that had a party in the White House and there was some stuff left there. Whose it was, we'll never know. We can speculate. We can guess. But we'll never know. But it could have been some top-notch stuff. And hey, how do we know they didn't bring it? Ah, come on now. Come on now. The Colombian National Police have been very successful over the past year in apprehending many Tren de Agua leaders and violent members in Colombia, including a June 27th arrest of Salomon Fernandez Torres, alias El Salaman, one of the leaders of the Tren de Agua in Bogota and Socha. The following week, the Colombian National Police arrested the Tren de Agua's co-founder, Larry Alvarez Nunez, Larry, alias Larry Changa. Boy, stuff's got America all over it. After the arrest of Fernandez, the mayor of Bogota, Carlos Fernando Galan, announced the primary objectives in Bogota would be to locate and arrest Giovanni and overall Tren de Agua's leader, Nino Guerrero. But what good would it be to take the head off? Because the body is already so young and ruthless. The body being between 12, 13, 15, 17 years old, that body is off the chain. That body ain't no old men who looking at their grandkids saying, well, man, I'm going to go ahead and put my hat up. Now that they done collected the big cat, I don't want nothing to do with it, man. I was trying to get out the business anyway. Them dudes ain't ever been. These are young cats who got the rest of their lives and their mindset to continue. So even if you catch these cats, I'm done with this article. I'm done with this article. Even if you catch these cats, it's not going to change anything. You see what I'm saying? It's not going to change nothing, even if you catch them. Because the youngsters that are following behind them, they are dangerous. Because they are so young and this is all they know. All they know is do something bad and get rewarded for it. Now, let's take a look and see what else we've got here. Because we've got a lot of stuff here. I want to take a look at, because I know they're going to start saying that never happened. They never did that. They never ate donkeys over there. They would never do that. We're going to take a look at this story. A few years ago, there were so many donkeys or burros in Venezuela, state of Falcón, that there were a problem. Herds everywhere, causing highway crashes and blocking airport runways. But over the past 3 years, as of the writing of this article, which was, I believe, in 17, because it's not going to show me the article when I change it and convert it to this, just read only, okay? But over the past 3 years, the herds have shrunk dramatically as thousands of burros have been slaughtered for their meat by Venezuelans suffering through a near famine. The reason why I'm showing you this is to let you know that it does not matter where you take a person. It does not matter where you take a person. Whatever is in them, that's the purpose of me showing you this, is how when you take them from these desperate areas like Venezuela, like Haiti, okay, when you take them from those areas, there are some things that are kicking in that will kick in as innate. Here's the sad piece when you really want to look at it. How many of those cats would outlive some Americans in the case of an emergency? And I know there's going to be somebody very bold and having a delusion of grandeur. They wouldn't they wouldn't outdo us because I got this and that, and I've been collecting this and that. No, I'm not talking about what you're collecting. They wouldn't outlive me in a case of an emergency because I know about XYZ. Sweetie, these people be surviving. So if you do have something major come through, I don't know if you'd be able to compare to their effort of resilience. Why? Because if you eating donkeys, if you eating flamingos, if you eating puppies, cats, dogs, and frogs, and you can't go get your Starbucks, and you can't go get your Dunkin', and you ain't never stuck a seed in the ground, and you don't even know how to freaking fish, how you gonna compete when these people know how to eat? Don't think it's strange that they're flooding this country with the specific amount of people that they are, because 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. Now, there's no more boroughs here, says Odales Martinez. There's no more. A resident of the Paraguana Peninsula in northern Falcón. The collapse of the Venezuelan economy is the reason why they radically changed and the eating habits in the oil-producing country. Now, while large sectors of the population are being forced to pick through garbage and slaughter domestic animals to sate their hunger, now the borough's disappearance in Falcón has set off alarms among authorities in the state. Where it had prospered after it was declared a protected species. It was just thriving. Yeah, they made them a protected species and they were just everywhere. You couldn't get nowhere. Now that they're a protected species and was used by residents only to carry the cargo or to plow the agricultural lands. Now you done turned Mr. Ed into the dinner plate. You done put Mr. Ed on the dinner plate. Now somebody upset. Now, from 2015 to today, according to the article in 2018, the boroughs disappeared, said opposition parliament deputy Eleazar Seret. His fellow deputy, Luis Stefanali, said that the borough was not part of the traditional Venezuelan diet, like in China, Spain, and parts of Latin America. The clandestine slaughter of the animals also has become a sanitary and environmental problem, Stefan Lee said. There are no sanitary controls, and burro has been disappearing from its native habitats. The burro population was so large in Paraguana just a few years ago that it created serious security problems. The airport in the Falcón state capital, Coro, assigned a vehicle to clear the animals from the runway before all landings and takeoffs to avoid tragedy. And along the isthmus that links the Coro to the Paraguana, 17 miles long and almost 4 miles wide, the herds of burros sleeping or nesting on the roads often surprise drivers. A 54-mile highway between Coro and Punto Fijo still has road signs with images of burros that warn danger animals on the roads. In 2001, the legislature proposed building walls along the road to keep the animals away. Here's a quote. What was a highly risky road yesterday because of the number of burros is not dangerous anymore. There are no more burros. We ate them all. Total extinction, closed quote. Years back, residents of the Paraguana used to eat goat, fish, and beef. And when those were in short supply, they ate rabbits, grains, and even iguanas. Burro meat was not liked because it's tough and it smells, even from far away, according to residents who have eaten it. But it has become a necessity for many people. A shortage of goat meat in Falcón has sparked mainly by thefts in rural area affected by drought, lack of investments, and electricity services, Seret said. He added that the idea of eating burro meat was introduced by Cuban medical personnel who arrived in Venezuela under the bilateral cooperation agreement known as Barrio adentro. When the Cubans came to Venezuela as a part of the medical and sport delegations, they asked the people of Falcon for burro meat, he said. Our people did not eat it. The burro was only a pack animal, he said. Hunger eliminated the goats and the burros in the Paraguana Peninsula. That story was originally published in 2017. Now, there were also stories in that time frame that I know all of us know about, where they were talking about the flamingo. So we're going to get that. Why are we going backwards? We got to go backwards in order to understand what's really about to take place on this plane. We have to go backwards. That's the only way that we're going to be able to get our memories refreshed. There was a biology student, Luis Sibara, stumbled across the first set of gory remains. Now remember, these stories are old. This says last November. 8 pink flamingos, their breasts and torsos sliced out, leaving their heads, spindly legs, and vivid feathers scattered across the marshy grounds at looks like Los Pioneas Lagoon in western Venezuela. Flamingo hunting is both illegal and unusual at the lagoon, less than 200 miles from the Colombian border. Sebera, who had been studying the pink birds that nest there for years, had never seen anything remotely like that before. Since then, though, he's seen at least 20 similar cases, most recently in January of the writing of this article, when he found several carcasses hidden under shrubs with a shotgun shell nearby. But this isn't simple poaching, he said. Sebera and other investigators from the Zulia University, a public university of Maracaibo, I hope that's correct, and forgive me if it's incorrect, Maracaibo. Anyway, it's a university, are convinced that the protected birds that have become the latest victims of Venezuela's growing hunger crisis. People have become so desperate, he said, that they are butchering and eating flamingos. There are other signs that food shortages have led to the slaughtering of animals not generally considered meat. Giant anteaters, for one, he says. The university investigators, biologists, and biology students say they've kept records to show that dozens of slow-moving creatures classified as vulnerable by the International Union for Conservation of Nature also have been killed for food. In the city's dump, more evidence of hunger-driven desperation. Dismembered dogs, cats, donkeys, horses, and pigeons have been found since last year, all skinned or plucked with signs of having been eaten, according to the city's garbage teams. Here's a quote. Sometimes we only find the animal's heads, guts, and legs. We used to see this very little in the past, but this practice is now out of control and it's on the rise, said Robert Linares, who works in waste disposal at the dump for the city. A day earlier, he said he'd found remains of a dog skinned and dismembered on the streets of Santa Lucia. The Maduro diet. Under the president of Nicolas Maduro, the once wealthy country has been plagued with the worst inflation rate in the world, close to 700% in the last year as of the writing of this article, according to International Monetary Fund. A survey by 3 universities in Caracas found that 87% of Venezuelans in 2015 didn't have enough money to buy sufficient food for their families. Not having enough to eat has become so common, it even has a nickname, the Maduro diet. Ricardo Boscan, the head of the Maracaibo's waste collection department, said that 6 out of 10 garbage bags or trash cans are being looted by hungry people. Here's a quote. The situation has gotten worse since 2015. It's happening because hunger is rising to a massive scale, but resorting to flamingos is something new. In Los Alabatos Marsh, the 125 square mile refuge close to Las Pionas, at least 10,000 flamingos live. On one of the only 3 such spots in Venezuela. Now, while locals were known to feed on their eggs, killing them for food was unheard of. The indigenous people in the area, mainly Wayu families, have denied killing the birds. Quote, Venezuelan Indians never ate this kind of animals, not even in times of the Spanish conquest, said Angel Villoria, a biologist and the head of the Venezuelan Scientific Studies Institute. Continues with this quote, this new behavior comes out of pressure to eat. In years past, the country's culinary habits in rural areas have sometimes included deer, iguana, and wild birds, not exotic birds such as flamingos. Well, the need for protein, the Zulia professors, including Valeria, Tito Barrios, Angelica Barrios, and Miguel Angel Campos, say they are also keeping records of dozens of cases of giant anteaters being killed for food. The giant anteater is being hunted and in impoverished towns and eastern banks of Lake Maracaibo. Valoria confirmed after numerous visits to the region. Anteaters are slow and relatively docile animals. Despite their claws and their threatening looks, they can easily be caught by groups of 2 or 3 people with sticks. Doris Rubio, the CEO of the Venezuelan based Animal Protection Association, is alarmed, but she also understands what's going on. And she says, quote, we find these killings grotesque, but how can we be critical of someone who hunts a pigeon, a dog, a cat, or any animal because he or she is hungry? People used to hunt lizards for sport. Now they do it out of necessity. Eating the flesh of domestic and wild animals pose health risks, warned Hugo Hernandez. He's a veterinarian science professor of the University of Zulia. They contain bacteria and viruses that could be deadly. Now, let's ask this question. If this is what they were doing there, and we're seeing some of the stuff that's going on with some of the Haitian people, and I venture to say, obviously, some of these poor people as well, because it's learned behavior. That's a 2-part statement. I'm going to put that on the. I'm going to park the car right there for a second, but let's finish with this. I venture to say that the bacteria that's coming from some of these people, some of eating these things, are undoubtedly going to show up in the CDC and to local health departments. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you think so? It goes on to say that in France, they eat horses, and in China, they eat dogs and cats, but after being raised according to sanitary programs. Yeah, right. In our country, these animals are being hunted in the wild or in the streets and cannot be consumed by humans. In the past, it wasn't uncommon to see a homeless or mentally ill person searching through the garbage, but scavenging for food has become widespread. People are often seen looking for discarded eggs, cookies, milk, flour, bread, broccoli stems, beet leaves, or expired butter, said Campos, a sociologist at Zulia. For most families, healthy meals are simply out of reach. 2 pounds of sugar or corn flour, for example, costs about 7,800 bolivares or $2 on the black market, and a pound of premium meat, 10,000 bolivares, or 3 items. Those 3 items alone represent more than half of the official monthly minimum wage of 40,000 bolivares or $11. Many people have no access to basic food or rely on a Montanist diet that consists only of 2 or 3 items, said the CEO of the Venezuelan Observatory of Health. To eat 3 times a day is a luxury, she added. Life on the streets, a skinny 12-year-old swims every morning in the polluted waters with his friends. They live on the streets and try to find small jobs in nearby stores. So let me say this. These are the individuals that are desperate enough to join those gangs. Okay? These are the individuals that are dangerous because they've learned and come from nothing. And so therefore, they will be able to join those gangs and do whatever and be promised food because they don't have their minds switched to the amount of money that they would be able to make here if they were legally here or if they were given the opportunity to work. Okay, so let's continue before we go on. We're almost done here. The child says, I have killed like 20 pigeons, proud of his skills. Yesterday, I killed a duck in the water. It tried to bite me, but I twisted its neck with my bare hands, the child says. He and his crew chased down parrots, chickens, crabs, snails to cook over woods in rusty pans. To catch the prey, they set up traps and tiny ropes and bait or prepare sticks with glue on their point. The child says, quote, "We smack them twice on the head or twist their necks," the children said. There are rumors that people are eating vultures too, known in Venezuela as zamuros. But the children deny it. Ew, those birds feed on dead things, they said. A few days earlier, they said they watched a local villager or a gurijo eat a small alligator. My God. Luis Enrique said that he won't ever eat that kind of animal, but admits that he loves lizards. Yummy. They taste great, like chicken. I even drink their blood, he yelled, while rubbing his stomach. With a huge smile on his face. But what they hunt down isn't enough to ease their hunger, said Andreas, a 10-year-old boy in the group, as he peeled an old mandarin orange. I've been hungry for many days, he said. The story was originally published February 10th of 2017. All right. So we've heard a lot of stories, and trust me and believe me, we have a lot more. We are not going to be able to get to them, so we're going to end up having another live, if not today, tomorrow morning, first thing, because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be covered. I think what we can do tomorrow is we're definitely going to look at Hector, okay? Hector Rustenford Guerrero Flores, also known as Little Guerrero or Nino Boy Guerrero. I'll show you his face before we leave. And I'll allow you to see that because I truly and honestly do not believe that there's ever going to be a recovery. And if it is a recovery, it's going to be somebody who they plan to recover the $12 million, or in his case, $5 million. This is a very young picture of him, Hector Rustenford Guerrero Flores. Now, he was born in 1983, so he's a relatively young guy, all right? He was over the gang in that prison that they're mentioning. Okay. He was over the prison gang. Now they claim that it was a very lavish prison gang, that they had a lot of amenities in that prison. Okay. So I think it would be good. This show is starting to give hot dogs more thought. Useless knowledge, I'm not playing with you. But nonetheless, yeah, I think that an hour and 13 minutes, we've all been here. Unless you guys want to continue, I don't want to belabor your time. What we did is we took yesterday's live and broke it down into like 3 parts thus far. Those parts are over on the Lockhart Perspective in 20-minute increments in case you are a person who doesn't have a lot of time to dedicate to watching a long live. You can go over to the Lockhart Perspective and watch it in small chunks. Because we've got to be cognizant of people's time, which is something that's important. But with that said, this is the cat that we're going to take a look at. We're also going to take a look at the prison and how he controlled the prison. Here's another story of him here, how he literally controlled that prison and what they wanted or expected from him. I believe that a lot of these individuals are reared. I believe that a lot of these folks are created. Excuse me. And while they are created, they are made to do exactly what they're doing now. And I don't see it as being something that's far removed from this place that we live in. Okay. But there are some visuals that I think I'll show you those visuals now, because those visuals have everything to do with the story that we've already read. So I want you to see the hallways of some of the places that we were talking about. In fact, the hallway of that hotel where this individual owns and has never done anything for it, never fixed it, never did any of that. Let's see. There we go. I was actually looking up the etymology of the name Rustenford and wondering how could somebody from that area get a name like Rustenford? Where did Rustin Ford come from? I sent a message out to one of my good friends this morning and asked her, do you know where this name came from? How does somebody from Venezuela get the name Rustin Ford if they're not somebody of necessity to them? But let's make this a little larger so that you guys can see some of the photos. This is some of the photos. These are photos from the lawsuit that's been filed by the El Paso County Attorney's Office, allegedly showing criminal activity. This is how they live. So now, do you remember what I was saying? This is from September the 10th of this my birthday. That's September 10th, this past week. Oh, thank you guys for those who have sent me Zelles, those who have sent me money, those who have helped me to purchase some things that I've needed. Thank you for thinking of me. You don't understand how kind that was of you. Nonetheless, September the 10th is when this story was. Okay. All right. These people are here. They're showing them walking up and down the hallway. This is 6/15/2024 that this security surveillance was taken, and there are even children there. Okay. They're showing several different frames of the same timeline. Okay. There's some assault going on. There's some dancing or whatever it is that they're doing. They're showing all of this. They're showing children. There's a bicycle with a kid there. There's an empty hall. You see broken chairs and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. I don't know what happened to the elders or the older people there in Venezuela. I don't know if they passed on, if they, had some type of illness where the old people are no longer. I don't see any old people, but I do see a lot of young men that are militarized age and a lot of young women who are able to produce more children. Okay. So that's the halls. This is them having a time, a wing dang doodle. All right. So that goes with that story. So I don't want to belabor that. So make sure we show those. But yeah, I'm going to show you this tomorrow. We'll do this first thing in the morning. Lord, say the same in the creek don't rise. Okay. Thank you, Useless. I sure appreciate you. Informative show. Thank you. And thank you for being such an important part of our chat. You always have. If you're not making me laugh, you're giving us information. And your name, Useless Knowledge, doesn't mean anything because you always give great knowledge. So I appreciate you for being the sponsor of today's show. You are the sponsor. So I want to thank each and every one of you all for hanging out. We should be back. Like I said, if not later on today, then we may come on in the morning. Either way it goes, we've got to get the rest of this information out, because if we don't get this information out, then no one's going to know any of this other stuff. And I really think that it's important for us to look at the juxtaposition of what was going on there and what's happening here. Okay? What's happening here in the States is really vital. Because with them taking the animals and doing all this other stuff that they're doing, what they're saying is, we don't care how cultured you are, and you're never going to make us like you. And so therefore, we are going to do what we want to do. We're going to do what we want to do. We're going to eat what we're going to eat. We're going to visit and live how we want to live. And there's nothing you can do. There is nothing you can do. Not a thing. Here. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for hanging out with us today. I want to tell you that you guys are on point. I love each and every one of you. I want you guys to make sure that you take care of yourself, big baby, because if you don't, I'm sure you already know. In the middle of the night, when you can't get nobody to answer their phone, and ain't nobody going to take care of you but you. Now, you may not be as heartless as those folks who could sleep through a windstorm. And you might answer all the time when people call you. And if you that person, and you know you need to take care of you first, you got a lot of folks that's dependent on you. And then you can reach around and take care of somebody else. I want you guys to remember that. Take care. Peace. Hey everyone, it's me, Felicia, of the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. I want to tell you a little secret. This is what I used to do, because I don't do it anymore. I would go to the store, buy the barbecue sauce, pour it inside of a bowl, put a whole bunch of different spices, a dash of brown sugar, a dash of maple, and a dash of mustard, stir it all around, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best, this is the best. But I was exhausted after all of that, and a lot of times I couldn't remember how many dashes of what I put in it. But I don't have to do that anymore, because now I just go to Judge Joe Brown's website and I order his 3-pack of bottled barbecue sauce. It is by far the best, and I do mean the best barbecue sauce I've ever eaten. And when you go to his website and you order his 3-pack, you'll see exactly what I mean. Head on over to jjbbbbq.com and order Judge Joe Brown's barbecue sauce. You'll be glad you did, and you're going to tell me about it. I know you will. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
La